Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be comparing the GRE versus the GMAT exams, and we're going to discuss how you can choose which one is going to be the better for you. So the first criteria that you need to look at is your target program. Okay, so the GMAT is generally an exam that's meant for business-related masters. So that includes the MBA, Masters in Management MIM, Masters in Engineering Management MEM, Masters in Finance, Marketing, and so on, right? So whatever is business-related. And the GRE is meant for, not only those programs, but also for other masters, like for example, engineering, science, psychology, all these kind of programs, they all accept the GRE, as well as PhD programs also will require the GRE exam. Okay, so there are two things that you need to consider here. So first of all, if you are in like a business-related master, if you are aiming for a business-related master's program, only then will you have sort of the trouble of choosing between the GRE and the GMAT. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you are someone who is still unsure about what they want to do, like if they want, they're not sure what kind of master's they want to do, and you're not sure if you want to go for a PhD program or an MBA program or some kind of master's program, you're still not sure, then the safer exam to take is the GRE. Because the GRE caters to each one of those programs, you don't have to choose yet, which program you want to go into if you want to take the test first. Whereas if you take the GMAT, you're sort of limited to business-related programs only. You won't be able to apply for a Master of Science program later, right? So in terms of options and stuff, the GRE is going to be like that better option. The second thing that you need to make sure, which is one of the most important things, is to ensure that your target universities accept the GRE. Right? So if you are applying for a business-related program, that's mainly where this debate comes up, right? If you're applying for an MIM or MEM, that's when you're thinking, okay, should I take the GRE or the GMAT, right? So first thing that you need to do is make sure that your specific target universities accept both the GRE and the GMAT. If you feel that, like 2 or 3 of your dream universities or some of your match or safety universities, they only accept the GMAT, then this is like a moot point entirely. You have to take the GMAT, then there's no option. Right? But if a university accepts both the GMAT and the GRE, then they hold no preference between, one or the other exams, right? So what they do is they take whatever score, a student got in GMAT and whatever score that a student got in the GRE, and then compare the percentile ranges. Right? So if a student gets, say, around 710, 720-ish on the GMAT, that's going to be approximately a 330 on the GRE. So they're just going to convert both of these scores into the percentile version, and then they'll check, okay, which student has the higher percentile score. Right? So it doesn't really matter which exam you take for these schools because they don't really have a preference. So then the decision is just left to you. Now, if we're talking about structural differences, here are the basic structural differences between the GRE and the GMAT. So this is just something that you should know. It's not really something that's going to help you make a decision because there's a lot of similarities in, what is tested and, how long the test is and so on. But if there is something in the structural differences that really makes you feel like, okay, I don't want this exam, I want to go for the other one, then, that's basically why I've just given it to you here. One important thing that you need to know is the level of difficulty for each exam sort of varies across sections. So the GMAT quantitative part is generally considered harder than the GRE quantitative part, whereas the GRE verbal part is considered a little bit more difficult than the GMAT verbal part. Okay, so if you are someone who is maybe out of touch with math, or maybe you're just not good at math at all, then maybe the GMAT is not the right exam for you. You might want to go towards the GRE. Right? And if you are someone who is not good at English, maybe you're not so fluent in English, but you're better at math, then you might be better off opting for the GMAT rather than the GRE. So keep in mind this level of difficulty before you make your choice. One more thing that you should know is the ability to skip questions. So in the GRE, you're given a set of 20 questions and you complete that set, and then you're given another set and so on. So within each set of 20 questions, you're allowed to skip forward and skip backwards. So this is an advantage that the GRE has over the GMAT. In the GMAT, you're not allowed to skip questions. So because of the ability to skip questions, you can sort of, if you come across a difficult question, you can try to attempt it. If you don't get it right, you can just move on to the next question, come back later and solve it. And that really gives you a lot of flexibility in how you can sort of approach the exam, which might tend to, lead to a higher score, whereas this possibility is not going to exist in the GMAT at all. So that's something that you might want to keep in mind before you make your selection. But the number one tip that I have for you guys when it comes to choosing between the GRE and the GMAT is just to try it out yourself. Right? So both the guys, who offer the GRE exam and the GMAT exam, they both offer free practice tests available on their website, right? So what you can do is you can either take a diagnostic test, which is a shorter version of the actual test, or you can take a full-length practice test for the GRE and the GMAT, and then see which one you have a higher base percentile rank in. Okay, so here are the percentile ranges for the GRE and the GMAT, so you guys can sort of tell. So what you guys should do is you should take the GMAT first and then see what kind of score you get and what's the percentile for that score. Then you should take the GRE and see what kind of score you get and the percentile for that score, and then sort of see which one you have a higher percentile in. So if you're performing much better in one exam than the other, then it's a clear choice about which exam you should choose. Having that higher base score in one of these exams is really going to help, make the preparation a lot easier, and it's going to make it much easier for you to, improve your score after, 3 to 4 months of dedicated study. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If it helped you in any way, leave a like and subscribe if you want more graduate program related information. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.